Sure, the game is one of 34, but has special significance. How has that been part of your week building up to this game?
Yeah, it's an incredible weekend for our club. It's an incredible weekend for the league. I mean, I can remember watching this game whenever I was 12 years old, and I was trying to find soccer anywhere and everywhere on TV, and there wasn't a lot of it. And so to finally have a league in the U.S. and watch all the stars, the superstars that I watched in the '94 World Cup and tried to emulate and be like. Now to watch in a league in our country was something that I can vividly remember. I can remember when Eric scored, and to think now, 30 years later, that this weekend Bruce will be on the touchline for San Jose, and he was on the touchline for us. And John Harkes will join us this weekend. He obviously captained the team in '96 and for a few years. Marco will travel with us this weekend. Jeff Agus will join us there. Sean Medved. We want to celebrate this weekend and celebrate our club's legacy and all those individuals and how much impact that they've had within the league and within the game of soccer in our country. And we want to celebrate that by having a great performance. And, it's we're going to bring that into focus about what this weekend means not only to the league but our club specifically with those guys in attendance for a meeting tomorrow. And I'm really looking forward to it because those guys were superstars. They paved the way for, and they still are superstars in my eyes, but they paved the way for me to be able to live out my dream. And it's pretty surreal this weekend to be a part of that.
And Bruce Arena set the standard for this club, but you watched his University of Virginia teams play.
Yes.
So that has to add to the surreal nature of the weekend. He's going to be just a few yards away from it.
That's right. I got to play against him a couple times whenever I was at Red Bull, and I took over in 2023, and I just have so much gratitude for what he's done for the game. I mean, he's to what you said, for college soccer, that was my source of soccer in 1993, and I remember going and watching his team at Virginia play against South Carolina and Mark Burson's team, and I think it was Cal State Fullerton, and then the fourth team was Bob Bradley's team at Princeton. So those guys, they've left an incredible mark on the game, and Bruce continues to do so. I mean, he's lived his life at the summit, right? That we're all trying to make it to the top and stay at the top, and he's stayed at the top virtually his entire career. So I just want to express gratitude for what he's done for our club, and the game in the U.S., and hopefully be as competitive as possible.
How do you get to the top on Sunday, given the game that you're coming off of that you were pleased with other than the result?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the biggest challenge to our group right now is that we're performing very well, I think, in probably 5 out of 6 matches this year with one outlier at Orlando City, but we have to match that with the result, and I think that's a huge focus of ours right now.
Bruce? Yeah, I just wanted to expand on that a little bit. It must be somewhat frustrating, getting the results and not being able to put it away, playing really good football and not quite getting the result. Obviously, it's a process. When does it become more, push more forward? In other words, can we get the results? Is the emphasis on that, or is it just continuing to play well until we start getting results?
Yeah, we have to have both ideas in mind, Bruce. I mean, this is the business we're in. I mean, I know our guys understand when they've had a good performance versus when they haven't, based on executing in the ways that we want to and our style of play. But they also know when we don't get a result that having a good performance, it doesn't satisfy anything. I mean, this is a results business, and we have to put more points on the table, and that's a huge focus of ours.
Thanks, Troy. Next, we'll go to Zoom. Steve, you want to start us off on Zoom?
Hey, Troy.
Hey.
Thanks for the time. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I got you. Yep.
Excellent. Hey, just to clarify, when you said you saw Bruce and all, that was the Final Four at Davidson, correct?
That's correct. 1993. Yep.
Okay, good. Just want to make sure. All right, in terms of the present day, what is Aaron Herrera's injury, and how many weeks do you think he'll be out?
Yeah, we weren't so concerned about Weeks post match, and he's been able to get back into training, so I think he's going to be available. He's going to be available for this weekend.
Oh, that's great news.
Yes.
Okay, and anyone else is Leal close, or anyone else on the bubble for returning to the squad, or guys being knocked out of consideration?
No one's had any setbacks, so that's a good thing. I think we're getting healthier. Randall Leal trained this week almost fully, so he's making good progress, and Jackson Hopkins is now the one that we want to get back, and he's actually been on the grass this week, so that's a big step for him.
Excellent. Thanks a lot.
Yep.
Next, we'll go to Donald Juan.
Hey, Troy. Thanks for your time today. I wanted to follow up on some of the questions about what this weekend kind of means, the overall history. When you look at the team, obviously there's very few players on the team who were even alive when that first game was played. I know that's making me feel old, but how has it been with those kind of guys, especially some of the newer ones to the league, getting to know that history, getting to be around some of the club legends that are going to be out there with you?
Yeah, I mean, this has been an initiative since I was hired to pay respect to the legacy and speak about the legacy of the club more, because I mean, how many clubs really have a legacy like DC United's? There's not many. Everyone's trying to achieve that, and understanding the history of the club is very important because it's a motivator. It inspires you to want to be a part of that legacy, and that's how you pay respect to a legacy, is you add to it. And I would say last year, the things that we tried to bring into the view of the players in relationship to that legacy is how are we going to add to it? The way we're going to add to it is have a clear mission, clear values, a clear style of play, and that ultimately gives us an identity. And I think that's something that our club has lacked. We have an identity now, and then that's given us an ability to see guys like Christian Benteke win the Golden Boot. That adds to the legacy of the club. That hasn't been done since 2011. He makes an MLS Best 11. That hasn't been done since 2018. We were right there in the end, and we're level on points, and we lose out on goal differential for the final playoff spot last year. And that getting into the playoffs, that certainly would add to the legacy. And I think that's where we arrive to today, as we understand that history better and pay homage to it. We want to be a part of that. And our goal and our mission is to resurrect the history of the club and the legacy of the club and make us more relevant, because that hasn't been the case in the last 5 seasons, and really 10 seasons with only one playoff win since 2015, I believe. So it's a tall task. There's a great degree of difficulty in terms of trying to turn things around, but that's the challenge we want, and that's why I feel like I'm here right now, is to bring a lot of these things back into view about all the legends that have played for the club and coached at the club, because that there's a massive responsibility, and to wear this shirt with the DC United logo on it and represent it in any way. And we have a lot of work to do to get it back into the position that it deserves to be in.
Great. Thank you, Troy.
Next, we'll go to Dennis Gomez.
Hey, Troy, thank you for your time. Since you arrived at the club, you talk about setting up a culture, and I'm sure you talk about also setting up a winning culture. Being winless in the last 3 games, how do you keep this group motivated?
The motivation's internal. I think everyone internally knows exactly what our objective is and what our mission is. But it's a good point. It's a good question, meaning the things that we're trying to do to pay respect to the legacy and resurrect the club, ultimately the number one thing to do that is to win. And I think that's where, the frustration of our supporters sets in. I can feel that, and rightfully so. We have to deliver more in order to put more points on the table and get us higher up the standings, because ultimately that's really how we're going to make our mark during our time. And the question in relationship to time is, will it happen fast enough, and we're trying to make that happen as quickly as we can. But to what Bruce said earlier, it is a process, and I think that you're seeing a lot of good things from the process that have taken place, but we need more.
And just as a follow-up, in these 30 years, what do you think the MLS has done a good job to grow the game in the U.S. and how can they continue to expand it?
I just say, man, that's a big question. I would say that when you think about 1996, there's 10 teams. Now there's 30 teams, and the markets are incredibly viable, and you're just seeing the game grow in a way that it's becoming a real player on the stage of some of the big sports in our country. American football, basketball, baseball. I think it's going to start to contend with that in the next few years, and it's our job to continue to develop the game in the best way possible so that we have the best product on the field. And that's our responsibility now, because I think the league is setting the standard in many other ways, and how it's operated.
And just the last one, what are you aware of San Jose, and how are you planning to kind of contain them and be able to get a win?
Yeah, contain's a good word, just because they have so many guys that can break out in different moments with some of the individual quality that they have. So our heavy focus has been on some of the things that we did very well against Columbus in terms of, and really over the last few weeks, just being under control with the ball, creating opportunities that way, eliminating unnecessary, unforced turnovers, and then against the ball, it being hard to break down. You know, this is always a part of our identity, and I think if we stay together like we've done the majority of the season, we're going to limit opportunities for San Jose, and that's what we need to do against a team that has some of their attacking power.
Thank you.